Good evening and welcome to this week's edition of Oxygen of Democracy. This is the program where we interrogate the decisions shaping Zambia's political future. I am your host, Nikki Shabolio. Zambia heads into the August 13, 2026 general election with a familiar but troubling pattern, and that is a fragmented opposition facing a unified incumbent. In the last general election, that is 2021, opposition candidates outside the main contenders barely registered electoral impact. Fast forward to today, and in state of consolidation, the field appears even more crowded. Tonight, we confront a question many citizens are asking with growing urgency. Why is the opposition more divided than ever at a time when unity appears most critical? With the August 13 election approaching, more than 25 presidential aspirants have stepped forward. For many Zambians, that doesn't signal strength. It signals disarray. Joining me tonight are two key figures at the center of this debate. Fred Membe, president of the Socialist Party and candidate under the People's Pact, and his running mate, Dolika Banda. Ms. Banda's journey from the corporate world to presidential ambitions, including alignment with John Sangwa under the Movement for National Renewal, to now joining forces with Dr. Membe, has grown significant public attention. Tonight we examine not just ambition, but strategy, credibility, and responsibility to voters. Ms. Banda and Dr. Membe, welcome to the program.
Thank you for hosting us.
Right. Well, viewers, you'll be watching us on DSTV, channel 273. We're also live on Gold TV. That's channel 21. Topstar, we're also there on channel 103. Star Times as well, 546, as well as Zuku, channel 58. You can also follow the discussion on our Facebook page. That is Prime Television Zambia. This is meant to be an interactive program, and so we will try to accommodate calls through the number on your screen, or we'll try to pick some of your comments or questions that you'll be posting on our Facebook platform. Dr. Banda, or rather Ms. Banda, right? Let's begin with you. I think unlike Dr. Membe, who is now an established politician and a known figure out there, could you please tell us, 2-3 minutes, you tell the viewers who Dolika Banda is?
Dolika Banda is a child of the soil, hailing from the Eastern Province, but grown up in Lusaka, pretty much, schooling in Lusaka.
Right.
First school Mkandawere in Dibala, then Northmead in Northmead, after which I then went to school in the UK. Dolika Banda is hailing from the Chewa and the Ngoni tribes.
Right.
So my Gawaundi and my Mpezeni, ndiye mfumo zangu, ndiye kwa nufuma, very proudly so. But above all that, I am a proud Zambian. I am a proud Zambian. I am one of 6 siblings. And whilst I have schooled abroad, worked abroad for many, many years, chalo chanufuma ni chakuno ku Zambia. So after working outside the country, schooling outside the country for almost 20-25 years, I made a decision to come back to Zambia.
25 years.
25 years,
Right.
God. Actually, if I include my schooling, maybe 30 years. But Zambia never left my soul. I never left Zambia wherever I went. And at some point, it had to come when I said, I need to go home.
Right.
I always told people I have houses in different places, but my home is Zambia. And that's when I decided to come back 10 years ago, 11 years ago now. And I want to be a part of the next stage,
Right.
where this country goes.
Right. And where did you work out there?
Outside of Zambia, I worked in Zambia. My first employment was Zambia, Barclays, and then Citibank. And from there, I then went to the United States, Washington, D.C., where I worked with the World Bank subsidiary, the International Finance Corporation. I have also worked in London with the UK's Development Finance Institution, now BII. We knew it then as CDC.
Right.
They built pretty much Langa Cement and Lindco and all these companies. And then I worked out of South Africa, but across sub-Saharan Africa, doing insurance, resilience to climate. So insuring for drought. We actually did a contract with Zambia, insuring for drought, for storms, for inclement weather, when our farmers, our ordinary people, suffer. So trying to produce resilience there. So people say, I've heard many people say, can she relate to the ordinary street person?
But there you are, you're speaking.
I need people to know. Half of my family is Membe, so I'm very much Zambian. I'm very proudly Zambian and happy to be here.
There's a tribe called Ngoni, but there's no language called Ngoni. Right. The Ngonis came in as Zulus here, or Nguni. They came with the Zulu or Nguni language. But because they came without women and the children, it was just men. They started marrying the Chewa women they found here, the Nsenga women they found here, the Tumbuka women they found here.
Right.
And the children they were producing started to speak more and more Chichewa, Chitumbuka, Chinsenga. Eventually, the Nguni language or Zulu language they came with died. Today, you have an ethnic group called Ngoni, but there's no language called Ngoni.
Oh, okay.
Mupezeni, the paramount chief of the Ngoni people, speaks Chinsenga.
I see. Okay, that was
a history lesson.
Yeah, history lesson. Worthwhile. Maybe just to add that you are our late former president, Dr. Dolika Banda's niece. Is that correct?
Yes,
right.
Yes. My father was the firstborn and he was the secondborn.
Oh, okay.
But they brought me up after my father passed away. I literally, he was my father from the age of 10. He was my father before, Pamwambo. So he's my father.
Yep.
So I ended up living with them. Yeah.
Right, okay. Now you entered politics at a critical moment, positioning yourself as part of a new wave of leadership. Many expected that, to come with a different approach. Perhaps one focused on building a broad, viable front, or even help shape one, But it looks like you're now part of an already crowded field. Looking back, do you believe your decision aligns with the aspirations of the Zambians?
Yes, I do. And I think we should remember that the world in general, politics in particular, this year's politics in particular, has been extremely dynamic. And you have had to go with the flow. When I came in, when I made my announcement, which was August last year, the opposition was fairly quiet. And that was my worry, that none of us seemed to be making some noise about the things that were not going right. There were things going right, but there were many things on the social side that are not going right. So I came in, and originally I intended to come in as an independent.
Presidential candidate
in my own right.
Right.
But as things evolved and life happens, you adapt. But as I adapted with the different experience, you mentioned MNR, and now I've joined the Pact, I constantly had to remind myself about why in the first place did I join this race. And so I had only two choices at any point in time. I either say things have not gone the way that I would have wanted to do and therefore I'm backing out, or I had to remind myself that the reasons and the purpose for your entering this political scheme arena in the first place remain an issue. And therefore, rather than jump ship, let me find where on the right ship with the same aligned values I can jump onto. And at the end of the day, it became the People's Pact.
Right. Okay.
It was not Fred Membe. I'm happy it was Fred Membe. We are finding ourselves more and more aligned on many things, but it was the People's Pact, which was a combination of three parties, four individuals who have dreams for this country that align with my own dreams.
Yeah, I mean, that was going to be my next question. I was going to ask what, attracted you to this pact you're in with Dr. Membe and others. But looks like you've touched on.
I also want to emphasize one thing.
Right, no problem.
And that is that it wasn't that I got attracted to the Pact. The Pact reached out to me after the MNR announcement. The statement was issued from John Sangwa, asking, what are you planning to do now? And at that point, I have to be honest, the choice was, okay, I'm done with this now. I think let me just go back to my old life. But when they described, the council that advises the Pact described the Pact, described the people behind it, described the mission, and then I met with John Sangwa, whom they had already, with Dr. Membe, whom they had already selected as a presidential candidate. They said, you meet him, have a chat, and see what you feel. So it was actually mutually in the right space of time that we ended up meeting.
Excellent.
Divine intervention is what I would honestly
Lastly,
call
before
it.
we bring in Dr. Membe, you've been known to be a corporate or a boardroom person all your professional life. I mean, people are wondering, how do you think, that helps you in your now political life, to be able to resolve, the many socio-economic challenges out there, that the common man, is facing. How does that help you? How do you translate that into your new role?
Look, my early career was in Barclays and Citibank here in Zambia, hard-nosed banking institutions. The most influential part of my career was with the International Finance Corporation and with what is today British International Investments, which was then CDC. The latter part of my years of working as CEO of the African Risk Capacity Insurance Company, which is an AU, Africa Union funded or founded institution, it is all about people. AU was about resilience to climate-related disasters in this country. And resilience to climate-related disasters for the ordinary person below a certain income level, which is most of our population. How do we allow our people to rebound from the effects of a drought or the effects of a cyclone? That's what it was about. And that was about people. The other two institutions, BII and IFC, are development finance institutions. Their focus is to alleviate poverty, to create economic opportunity, to create an equitable economic playground for people in order to reduce that 70% across Africa of people who live below $3 a day. It's always been about people for me. It's always been about development. It's always been about economic upliftment, which should result in social enrichment. So what I'm doing today, I actually feel like it's been a confluence of experience to bring me to a point where I can use the blessings that I have had, to have had the experience that I have had, to see how I can change the life of Mwape, or Mairesi, or Mwewa, or Inutu. So I really feel that I have matured into a place where I can give freely of what I have learned in my profession.
Nicely illustrated. Right, Dr. Membe, let me bring you in here. In 2021, your presidential bid did not succeed. I'd like to find out what has fundamentally changed between then and now to justify another run. This time, of course, expecting a different outcome.
Every election is different. Life is not static. Zambia today in 2026 is not the same as it was in 2021. The ruling party of that time is today in the opposition, albeit in a different way. What was in opposition at that time is today in power. So many things have changed. The wheel of fortunes, or the wheel of fortune, turns continually. What is up sometimes gets down. what was fresh gets to seed. And politics is the same.
Right.
Even in our lives, vaniki lelo mufikile tepo mwali mu 2021. Your situation is very different from what it was 5 years ago. As a human being, as an individual, your family is not the same as it was in 2021, both the narrow family and the broader family. The community in which you live today is not the same way it was in 2021 or prior to 2021. The church you go to is not the same as it was in 2021. A number of things have changed within the church, within the parish or the congregation that you worship with. So many things have changed. Even for parties, the situation under which UPND was in 2021 is different from what it is today. It's different from what it was in 2011. It was different from what it was in 2015, 2016. So things change. They are not static. It's changed for everybody, and it's changed for us as well, as a party. And we are not the first one to be in that situation. In 2001, Michael Sat and the PF got about 3% of the vote, if not less.
Yep.
But in 2006, they had beaten parties that had beaten them by far. They became the second leading party. So the situation has changed.
Right. Are there factors that you can cite, specific factors that have changed that enhance your chances?
Politics is determined by two principal factors. It's determined by the objective factors. Objective factors, one does not have direct control over them. It's a given. As an individual, as a party, we don't have control over that. The economic situation, SP and its leaders do not have control over that. The poverty levels have increased from what they were in 2021 to what they are today. The cost of living has deteriorated.
Okay.
Those who used to have 3 meals, today the great majority of them would be lucky to have 2 meals or even 1 meal. Those who used to have 8 hours sleep in 2021 today will be lucky to have even 5 hours because of problems.
Right.
The debt trap for the great majority of our workers today, especially civil servants, is not what it was in 2021. These are objective factors. But also there are subjective factors which deal with the individuals. The individuals participating in the politics today are slightly different from those who participated in 2021. You don't have Mr. Hichilema as an opposition politician today. You have him as President of the Republic, a sitting president. In 2021, he was an opposition leader. You don't have Mr. Lungu as a sitting president today. And actually is not even with us. Is lying in the mortuary for 11 months tomorrow. This was not there. It's a subjective factor. We as individuals also, we have learned something. We have experienced certain things that we didn't experience or know 5 years ago. So these are subjective factors that have changed. And there are also many players. You are talking about 25 players now, people vying to become presidents. Yes, it's a good thing. Participation is increasing. People may see this as a negative thing, but it's good. We need more and more of our people to participate in the governance of their country.
Right. Okay, so
someone was joking that 23 of those 25 belong to an ethnic group to which I belong. I said
we
it's,
do have a section where we discuss.
and they were saying it's embarrassing. I don't think it's embarrassing. It shows how we seriously take the governance of the country and how much we want to participate.
Okay. Right. So this is not simply persistence on your part. There's a strategy you're employing. There's opportunities you're trying to explore. And
it's not opportunities. Tepambale. Tepambale is about responsibility. She could have stopped, but she's forced to continue because the requirements of the nation requires all of us to participate. And for the church I belong to, it's actually a sin to withhold your participation in leadership when you have the abilities to do so. But also, we are not acting as individuals. We are acting as part of the collective. You don't just stand up and say, I want to be president of the Socialist Party. It took 1 year, 6 months for the comrades I work with in the Socialist Party to force me, to convince me to take up the leadership position. 1 year, 6 months. Ndekana. It also took a lot of effort to make me accept the responsibility I'm holding today. Yes, it's not a privilege. It's a huge responsibility. It's a huge responsibility. There are no direct benefits to one. The sacrifices are huge. You don't have time for the things that other people have time for. You are overstretched in terms of time, you are overstretched in terms of resources. It's sleepless nights. So that's why I'm saying it, epambale. It's not something that you get excited about, unless you know your bearings are not right. So it's not persistence. If tomorrow the party or the Pact feels there's somebody more capable, I'll gladly support that person. And we are still talking to other people to work with. If somebody else comes tomorrow, the Pact has the right to change. And we didn't come into this to be in a certain position. We came into it to serve in any capacity that we are asked to.
Great. Okay, now let me just turn to Madam Banda again. Your rapid movement across political formations has not gone unnoticed. I mean, from an initial presidential ambition, like you pointed out, to working with Council John Sangwa, State Council, to now being on the Pact ticket. How do you reassure voters that this reflects strategic evolution rather than, I would call it, instability? Right.
I know there is, it's easy when you're sitting outside looking in to say this individual jumps from place to place. But one has to remember, like I said earlier, this is a dynamic world. As President has said, we have to be focused on what we are here to do while we are on this journey. It's a thankless job. It was my first foray into politics, and you learn as you go along. You cannot give up. It's a little bit like a doctor has diagnosed a patient with cancer.
Right.
And when they encounter the first treatment, it doesn't work. The doctor says to himself, and therefore to the patient, I'm sorry, I can't do this anymore. You can't do that. I have identified that I think I have something to contribute to the future of this country. Not my future, it is spent. Not the next generation, but the next generation, my grandchildren. That is how we should be thinking. We get to a certain point where we become elders in a society, and we should be thinking about how do we hand over posterity, legacy, future to the next and next generation. That's why our friends in the West live in their wills, not their children, but their grandchildren. And when you embark on a journey that you know this is what is driving me, I want that PhD, or I want that house, you don't stop because you have encountered a few hurdles along the way. You get up, you brush yourself off, and you move on. You look at what are the alternatives. The alternative to walk away has always been an option for me. But what is driving me is what put me here in the first place, which is to share what I have experienced, hopefully for the betterment of this country and its people. If others will be cynical enough to perceive that as me being, let me be very blunt, a political prostitute, then I think they don't have better things to do. For the sake of this country, rather than tell me I'm jumping from pot 1 to pot A, remember that we are in a dynamic world. We are in a very precarious position, I would say, for this country and its democracy. And so if you want to be a part of the change, be a part of the change. Because not being part of the solution, to me, is definitely being part of the problem.
Yep.
And I didn't jump, it's not like I jumped ship from ship to ship. Things came to an end, not of my driving. And I therefore had to say, okay, this door has closed in the form in which we originally envisioned it. What other doors are open that I can walk into? So it wasn't me jumping, it was events happening, and then you have to react and be agile.
Good. It's good you've addressed that, because I mean that's one
Maybe
of the
let me add a little
points.
bit on that.
Yes, Doctor.
It's not really a question of jumping around from this branch to the other. Our people are demanding that we work with other people. And you cannot determine the behavior of another person. It's like marriage. Nobody gets into a marriage to leave it the following day. But certain things beyond one's control happen. Even the best human beings in this world have ended up failing to live in one association. Mandela himself, one of the best citizens of this planet. How many marriages did he get into? How many? So you can get into one association. The others say, us, we are withdrawing. We no longer want to continue. So you continue alone. You have to find other people to work with. And probably that's what happened to my dear sister here. She had to find other people to work with.
Right.
What does she do? If John says, me, I've run in my race, I've made my contribution, so she withdraws, and the people are saying, no, sister, continue. Come and work with us. When one door is closed, they say many more are open.
Right. Right. Now, Dr. Membe, I remember when we hosted you a couple of months ago, you made mention of a pact that was in its formative stages. Here I want you to tell us, tell the viewers about this People's Pact thing that has come into being. So you need to. Is this the one that you made reference to? The time that we had you last in the studio? Is this the pact that has now come to fruition?
I don't know when I was last here, but let me talk about this pact. Probably.
Yes, right.
This was not my initiative. This was not the initiative of the Socialist Party. It was not an initiative of us who are participating in it today. It was not an initiative of Dolika. It was not an initiative of any of the leaders, the political leaders of the Pact. It was an initiative of ordinary citizens who are not political participants per se, who are not seeking political office. They got together almost 2 years ago, trying to forge some unity, trying to construct a leadership that they felt could push this country to the next stage in its development, politically and economically. So these are the people who called us and brought us together. And they are still managing things with us. They are still the key promoters of this project. We as politicians, I can say maybe we only control 30 or 40% of the activities of this undertaking. So it's not our initiative. Even the responsibility that we have been given, it's them who have given it to us. Of course, with our little participation.
So who are these? Are they political parties? Are they civil society organizations?
These are lawyers, ordinary businessmen,
right.
Some of them traditional leadership, some of them in religious leadership. They have come together, they have been working together for the last almost 2 years. And they don't want to be thrust into the public space. So that's why we're not talking about them.
Okay. So do you have a structure at the moment? We know you are the president?
Yes, there's a structure.
Right.
There's a structure that involves them, the initiators of this. We have not excluded them. They still participate in mobilizing more support, more participation, broadening the leadership.
Advisory. And
also they advise on what should be done. They also assist in resource mobilization for this project. Okay. So they are still participating in that way. We also have a structure. There's a council of the leadership of the presidents who are participating. There are also individuals who are in there. You don't need to come from a political party. So there's diversity. We had to exit our own party programs to come to a national agenda, to come to a unified vision for the country for the next 5 years. That if we won the elections, it should culminate in a government of national unity. So this is the situation we are in.
Okay.
And that's how we are participating. It's not our initiative. The policies being pursued are not Socialist Party policies or the policies of one or the other political party or individual. No. It's a collective vision, which we will run with for the next 5 years.
Right. Now, you're running under a broader alliance framework, the People's Pact, at a time when multiple other alliances are forming and dissolving. We have seen the Tonse Alliance, the restructuring after internal changes, or other opposition formations also endorsing different candidates. Now, is Zambia facing an opposition coordination problem, or is it a leadership problem?
This is not unique to opposition politics. Look at our Christian churches in this country, all worshipping the same God, all putting their trust and faith in the risen Christ. But how many denominations? We have even a proliferation of mother bodies. Is that a bad thing? Does it show disunity in the Christian faith? It's bad for Christianity. They should all become one. God cannot be worshipped, cannot be saved in this way. So it's not politics alone.
No, but there is a strong public sentiment, Dr. Membe, that the opposition has failed to listen to the citizens' call for unity. Instead, like you pointed out, we see multiple candidates overlapping agendas, competing.
These are the same citizens
25
who in 1990-1991 called for multi-party political dispensation against a one party. They called for a multi-party political dispensation. They did not say form one party against UNIP. I was part of that group in 1990-1991. We were asked to campaign for a multi-party political dispensation. A multi-party political dispensation means just that. You have multiple of parties. And there's nothing wrong with the people coming up to participate on their own. Yes, the same people are calling for unity, but they have not given us a blueprint on how that unity should be achieved or should be realized. Unifying our struggles is important, but it's not an easy thing also. It's a complex process. And as I was saying to you, it's not us who are just failing to unite. Why can't even religious institutions that are our moral guide fail to unite, to worship under one umbrella? Yes, we are working day and night to unite our struggles, because unity is needed not only to change government, but also to develop our country. Without unity, without unifying our struggles, our forces, it will be very, very difficult to move forward politically and economically. And it's a good thing that our people are demanding that we unify our struggles. Yes, it's not unifying to change our convictions, to change our beliefs, but to realize our collective strength. It's good to win power, and also it's good to carry on that unity after, to develop the country.
Yeah, you're talking about 1991. I think the dynamics have changed. 1991, probably the citizens saw it that even one political party standing against UNIP were going to be successful in dislodging the then government. And looking at the current situation, it is impossible, I think that's a sentiment coming out.
There's a contradiction.
To remove or to
there's
take
a contradiction.
Power from the
Vanik,
union.
There's a contradiction here. The same people who are calling for opposition unity do not want a one-party state in Zambia. And they are calling for opposition unity to avoid having a one-party state in Zambia. So there are contradictions here. I'm not opposed to unity. We are working every day and night to achieve that unity. We don't parade ourselves on social media. We have met so many of our fellow opposition leaders, both as the Pact and as SP.
You've gone into a pact, more of an alliance, unity, isn't it? But again, you're saying it's not really necessary, as the citizens are calling for, to come together.
I've not said that. You are saying that.
Maybe I misunderstood you. Could you?
What I'm saying is this, that we should expect a proliferation of parties under a multi-party political dispensation. It's inevitable.
Right.
But when you have a proliferation also, there are some negative effects. But you have to live with the consequences of that. You cannot have a multi-party political dispensation and also at the same time limit it. Limit it out of expedience. When it suits you, you want everybody to be one. When it does, because you want to remove a certain government. Yes. Then multi-party political dispensation is not good. When that is done, you want more parties. You want more choices. All what we are saying is, let's unify ourselves without losing our identity, and also realize that this is not about killing the multi-party political dispensation, but strengthening it. It's a unity in diversity. But what I'm trying to say is unity is not easy. Unifying forces is not easy. Even in 1991, we did not have one opposition political party called MMD. There were many others. And it didn't take long. By 1993, the proliferation started.
So in short, you agree with the citizens that are calling for a united
We are
opposition.
working for that. We went to Congress in 1994 September, in 2024 September.
Okay.
And we were mandated, we are ordered to go and work with others, to seek alliances with others as SP. So what we are carrying out is not individual issues. It's a decision of the party Congress. And the resolution is there, registered or filed with the society, the Register of Societies.
That is the Socialist Party.
Yes.
Congress. Right.
And also even the People's Pact. The People's Pact is still saying, let's bring in more people. Let's unite our forces with others
Okay.
as far as we can, So we are not opposed to that. That's what we are working for.
That's clear. Yes, but
I just want to quickly add to this that as a country, we must remember that we are on a journey with democracy. We are on a journey with democracy. And the concept of democracy is not that because we have a problem with an individual or a particular party, that we must unite simply to get rid of that party. Democracy means you must allow different arms to flourish. I think what hurts us is we have these major social issues to deal with as a country, and we really want to see a government come in that whose priority, in addition to bringing in investors and everything else, that priority is for the Zambian people. That is what we are driving for. Democracy does not mean every opposition party must come together to get rid of one.
Right.
That goes against the tenets of democracy. Democracy means different aspects must flourish. Those who want to unite, as the People's Pact have united, unite on the basis of shared values, shared mission, shared vision. Because if you don't have that shared mission, shared value, shared vision, you're going to have a really fragmented government in place. You may have displaced the previous government, but you're going to have a totally fragmented government in place, which may in and of itself start to give us problems. But we're transitioning. We're a growing democracy. In many ways, we're a young democracy. And these are the learnings that we must take to heart about this. It's not about an individual. The future of this country should never be about an individual.
Okay. So, Madam Banda, what do you think is causing this disunity? We had the UPND spokesperson, Mr. Cornelius Mwitwa, actually saying the disunity in the opposition is divine. In your opinion, what is causing these challenges in the opposition coming together, at least to, forge a good challenge, to the incumbent party?
I think in any situation where there's a jostle or a wrestle for power, there are internal factors. So within each party, there will be internal factors. For example, we saw how MMD broke up into MMD and MDC. We've seen how there's been power play within the PF in the last few months, in the last year. So those are internal factors. Those, frankly put, are ego and power plays.
Right.
We cannot ignore that there's going to be that testosterone issues. It's a competitive game. There are also external factors in the environment in which we are. Some of that conflict, some of that disarray, some of that confusion is deliberately structured to fragment the opposition.
By the opposition.
By the opposition. We've seen people crossing the floor, and again, for me, this is part of democracy, a young democracy. It is very rare that you move as a true politician who puts the country in front of your own self-interest. It is very rare that you will move from left to right. In mature democracies, people stay with the parties that they stay with because they believe in the values, in the mission of those parties. So internally, we have to look at ourselves and get rid of that ego. The fragmentation, part of this fragmentation we're talking about is coming from within PF. How many presidents do you have? They're coming from within party structures that already exist. So we have to also, as we go to the vote in August and beyond, and this is what I loved about MNR, it was questioning how we own and implement our own democracy as a country. It's a growing democracy. And you cannot force two parties to the table at the same time unless they know and share where they want to go.
Right. Dr. Membe, would you want to chip in on this one?
There's a lot of learning. Democracy is not like pressing a button and then you get the result. It's a process. It's a process of knowing how to negotiate with each other, how to build coalitions, how to build consensus. It's learning how to give and take. We have a long way to go in learning how to work with each other from different positions. You don't need to deny yourself, to deny your convictions to work with each other. There are moments in the history of any community, in the history of a nation, when individual initiatives cannot do, when you need to have collective initiatives. And our people are saying the situation in the country, the deterioration in terms of governance standards, the deterioration in terms of living standards of our people, the deterioration in the morals, the national values, require us to have a united position to deal with these issues. They are not saying dissolve yourselves. They are not saying don't be socialists. They are not saying don't be this, but they are saying come together, we have these challenges, which each one of you on your own you will not be able to address. And they are finding these challenges to be big, to be serious. And they are calling for this unity. And we agree with the masses of our people that this is the time in the history of our country that we need to unify our struggles. We are at the crossroads. The crossroads is not a place where you just sit and wait for the sun to rise and set. The crossroads is a point for decision making. Decisions have to be made whether to move in front or to go backwards or to go right or to go left. Decisions have to be made. And our people are saying, yes, we are here at the crossroads, but a decision has to be made collectively so that we pull in the same direction.
Right.
Not one, this one is pulling this side, this one is pulling that side, this one is pulling that side.
Okay.
It will be weaker. If we pull society in one direction, we'll achieve much more and much quicker. And we agree with that, but this requires a lot of effort. It requires a lot of convincing each other. It requires a lot of tolerance. It requires the skills, human skills, to be able to listen to the concerns of others, to the fears of others, accommodate them, negotiate with them what can be negotiated, compromise certain things that you wanted to do very quickly and say, we'll suspend this to move society to that level. And this is what we have done with the Socialist Party. We have literally put aside our program, our party program. We have put it aside to have a common program with others. Because you can't come with your socialist program and say, let's unite around the socialist program. They are not going to agree. That's why they formed their own parties, because they have got a different approach in how to deal with society's problems. So we are saying, okay, we have put our program aside. Let's find a national purpose, a national agenda. What is that agenda? Firstly, we have to win our country back. We are not in control of our own country. Other people are in control of our own country. And even other people are telling us, the American ambassador is telling us, get control of your own destiny. Take care of your own people. Take responsibility for the future of your country. And this is what we're embracing in the People's Pact. We are saying, okay, let's get control of our country as part of our agenda. What does it mean to take control of our country? To take control of our country means to manage our economy ourselves. To own the economy, our people should own the economy. As individuals, as cooperators in cooperatives, as shareholders in limited liability companies, as shareholders in public companies, as state ownership in areas where it's necessary to do so. Let's gain control. And Comrade Nikki, today, even if you want to start a business, you have a perfect business plan. Which bank are you going to go to give you money? Nobody will give you money because you don't own your banking sector. Only 2% of our banking sector is 100% controlled by us. 2% of the $12 billion banking asset, $12 billion banking assets, we only control 100%, 2%. So no matter what programs you come up with as Nick, you won't get the money. So your ideas will be taken by others who are foreigners. We only control 5% of our financial sector. Only 5% is under Zambian control. Where are you going to get the money? And money is important. It's like blood in your body. That's what circulates the nutrients. That's what creates wealth.
Okay.
If you don't control that, how much do you control your mining sector? Meaningful mining sector. For more than 100 years of mining, what do you own as Zambia and as Zambians?
Good, right. Now,
Even your agricultural sector, which accounts for 80% of our economic activity as individuals. 80% of Zambians are direct or indirectly involved in agriculture. That sector is only producing 3.5% of the GDP. Only 3%.
right, okay. So now,
And the commercial farmers,
Dr. Membe.
who are the commercial farmers in Zambia? Is it Nikki, Shoma? It's not you and me.
right,
Is
okay.
Dolika the commercial farmer? No.
That's interesting. Let me get back onto the question I'd asked originally. You know, with less than, is it about 3 months to go? You know, is this opposition, alliance or coming together possible, where we see politicians like the two of you stepping aside and backing a popular candidate that the groupie might pick?
What do we have as human beings?
We have 3 months.
What we have is hope. If you lose hope, it's better you bury yourself as a human being. Because hope makes us bigger than we are. Hope makes us more determined, more resilient. We still believe in fighting up to the last minute. Vatila Roni wine chunguro. Although there's a friend of mine, KBF, who says, no, it's Mufrira Wonders. Yes. We have to seek unity up to the last minute. We shouldn't give up. Let's work tirelessly to achieve that unity. Unity of purpose. Yes, we have got organizations. We have parties. But these parties are not our strategic goal. The strategic goal of our participation in politics is to give our people a better life, a much more happier life. A happier life that comes from having the necessities of life. This is what brings dignity to human beings. And that's our strategic objective. That's our strategic goals. All of us, it should be. The organizations we represent us are mere tools to the realization of those strategic objectives.
Right.
So we cannot place our tools above the objective of giving our people a better life. We cannot even put our ideologies. Our ideologies are also just tools. We cannot subordinate the interests of our people to our ideological outlook. The people's interests are supreme.
Right. Maybe lastly on this aspect of unity and opposition, let me just put it directly to you. If unity, is what people want, and fragmentation is what they are getting, will you accept that disunity, not just external factors, played a decisive role, and will you accept responsibility if the opposition loses?
The loss of the opposition is not only about the politicians. If the opposition loses, it's not Dolika, it's not me, it's not the other fellow who is in the opposition who is totally responsible. You are also responsible.
I am not one of those people.
No, you are part of that. Who told you that the political life of this country depends on those who are called politicians? The politicians, listen, Nikki, the politicians are not the only leaders of our people. Who are in politics are not the only leaders of our people. There are also other authentic leaders of our people. We have the traditional leadership. Those are authentic leaders of our people. We have the religious leaders. They are authentic leaders of our people. We have the business leadership. It's also part of the authentic leadership of this country. We have the trade union leaders. We have the intellectuals, the professionals. We have yourselves in the media. You are part of the leadership of this country. The successes and failures of this country rest also squarely on your shoulders. They rest on our collective responsibility. It's not a responsibility of one group of leaders. In fact, the people you want to place so much responsibility on, they are not the best leaders of our people.
The politicians.
The politician is not the best leader of our people. There are other better leaders. In the families, in our communities, in our villages, in our chiefdoms, nga tulefa okupianika enfumo kupianika mwine mushi kuti paba bepwa 10 20 abaleta qualify kupiana tusalapo fyeunga umo tusalapo empanda yakwatisha mano yakwata omutima w'abantu yatemesha abantu yaishiba ekyalo yaishiba abantu inga sunga ekyalo n'abantu eyo tupianika pabufumu eyo tupianika pali bumwine mushi.
Okay.
So may I quickly add on this, Nikki? Because the responsibility of us as civilians and voters is extremely important. The responsibility that we take when we're going to vote must be above being bought at the last minute. Even in the queue when we are waiting to enter the ballot box to put our marker down, we know, I am not saying anything that every Zambian deep down honestly will accept. We are bought very cheaply to vote in a certain way. If we put enough people in parliament that are sensible people, who care for the people, and we know those people, if we put enough of them in parliament, even in opposition, you can have a president that maybe is not coming out of opposition, but if you have enough people in parliament fighting for the right reasons, this country will change. We are easily bought.
Yes, Comrade Nikki, maybe just before you come in. Yes, leadership matters. It matters a lot. Political leadership matters. But political leadership does not necessarily construct itself. The political leadership is constructed by yourselves.
Yeah.
By bringing us here, me and my sister Dolika.
Exactly. That's
what you are doing by this interview, you are trying to contribute to the construction of a leadership. And the leadership, the political leadership that will emerge out of this, it will also depend on how well you do your job. If you do your job well as a journalist, you will help this society have better leadership.
right.
If you don't do it well, the leadership we are hoping for, we are yearning for, may not come to us.
Yeah.
So it's not the responsibility of me,
politician.
my sister, and other political
It's a
leaders.
collective.
Yeah,
It's a collective responsibility. That's why we have to listen to what the people are saying. When they say unite, we cannot turn it the other way. We have to face that challenge of unity. We have to meet the people on their terms. We have to listen to what people are saying. We are not the alpha and the omega. We are not looking for a single genius, we are looking for a collective genius. And the collective genius cannot just come from politicians. it has to come from the collective wisdom of all our people. We have to listen to you, Nikki, when you speak.
Excellent. That's the follow-up question I wanted
Yes.
to ask. You know, when you went on to mention all these other people that have a role in ensuring that the politicians come together, I was going to ask to say, what roles do you want them to play? You mentioned the church, the traditional leaders, the media, and so on, which is what you've come back on, and I think you've elaborated for the media at least. Maybe the church, I don't know what role you'd want them to play exactly in bringing you together, you the politicians.
Don't we say the church is the moral guide of society? That's what I've grown up to believe. That's what I hear all the time. If the morality of a society is decaying, if morality is being lowered in this country, doesn't the church have a responsibility? Won't the church take the blame or part of it? Won't we turn to the church and say, church, what have you been doing? Look at where we are going. Look at the way we are treating each other. Isn't it the job of the church to teach us to love each other, to love one another, to live in peace with each other?
Okay, right. Let's move on and address one recurring issue in Zambian elections. You know, there are already murmurs, you know, about potential unfair conditions or even electoral manipulation involving the ECZ. You know, there's talk out there. You know, but critics, you know, argue. They say you politicians, cannot, you know, enter a divided race and then blame the system afterwards. Are you prepared to clearly state before this election coming what conditions would make the process credible or not?
Maybe let's borrow from a popular sport, soccer. It's not a tournament of two teams. We end with the two teams, the winner and the run-up. But we start with many teams. The World Cup is coming now. How many teams are going to the World Cup? The number has been growing, isn't it? The number of competitors has been growing. Has it diminished the value of the World Cup? It has actually increased the prestige of the World Cup. But the rules for the World Cup are not set just before the World Cup. 1 week before the World Cup. 2 weeks before the World Cup. 1 month, 3 months or so before the World Cup. No. When are the goalkeepers going to learn the rules? When are the defenders going to learn the rules of a penalty? When are the strikers going to learn the rules of offside? When are the refs and their assistants going to learn the rules? It will be chaos. Imagine FIFA introduces new rules a month before the World Cup. This is what we are trying to do here. We have so many bills to deal with the elections, targeted toward the elections. A few weeks, 2 weeks before nominations, those rules are not yet passed. The Electoral Act is not passed. 2 weeks before nominations. Who has the time to have meaningful input in that? Even your MPs are complaining that they are overloaded with 74 bills they have to pass in the next 2 weeks. Parliament is dissolving on the 15th. They have 74 bills, I'm told. What attention are they going to give to those? Even if you divided the number of days remaining, the number of hours, even if they were superhuman beings, very hard-working human beings who don't sleep, what time do they have to read those bills? What time do they have to go to their constituency and consult?
Constituencies which have been increased.
Yes.
again at the 11th hour.
So you are telling the legislators to make laws on their own. These bills are just being given to them. They don't have time to go back to their constituencies to consult. There is no time for you, even the media people, to debate the contents of those bills, 74 of them, in 2 weeks. How many programs, Comrade Nikki, are you going to have here to discuss those bills? Even yourself, do you have time to read them? How many of those bills have you read?
And then translate them
Yes.
into the various languages
Yes.
we have.
How many have I read? I'm an avid reader, but I've read very little. Very little, if any.
Right.
And it's not only the bills that we have to deal with. There are so many other issues to do with elections.
Right.
That we have
Could you
to deal
run through
with.
them quickly?
Yeah?
The other issues that may make the process unfair?
Every law that the government
from
passes, that parliament passes, is an important law. It's law. Law is law. You saw even laws that were not being used for many decades. We have 2 of our brothers serving in jail today for witchcraft. For witchcraft. They are accused of trying to bewitch the president with a lizard as evidence, a chameleon, I mean,
Right.
with a chameleon. So that shows you how important every law is. Whoever considered that law would be used to send somebody to prison. And going to prison is not a small thing. Even if it's for 1 day, depriving a citizen of their liberty is not a small issue. So putting up laws that can deprive your fellow citizens of their liberties is not a small matter. That should be taken carelessly. And here we are passing laws carelessly.
Before I ask my next question relating to the same, would you have anything to add to this
No,
point?
look, I think my view is simplify it by a school year. You have university students who are supposed to be graduating in 3 months' time, even 6 months' time. You go to, and they've been studying on the old curriculum. You go to them, those same students, and you tell them, effective today, the exam that you're going to sit in 6 months or 3 months' time is now going to have questions on nuclear energy.
Or everything will be multiple choice now.
Or everything will be multiple choice.
True and false.
And in that class, you have French speaking, English speaking, German speaking, Polish speaking, and you put through the dean of the university this new requirement on the students who are to graduate. What do you think they would be in that university? That'd be a riot.
Nikki,
That's what we're talking about here.
It takes 4 years to prepare for the next World Cup. 4 years.
Right.
And FIFA gives you 4 years with activities, friendlies arranged there. You can change the nationalities of players. If all that was done in 2 weeks, what type of a World Cup would have?
Chaotic.
Our elections cover a period of 5 years. You have 5 years to prepare for the next election. And every day in those 5 years matters. If you are not allowed to hold rallies in those 5 years, you are not allowed to hold meetings, serious meetings in those 5 years. You are not allowed to mobilize. You are not allowed to educate the voters. You are not allowed to organize your voters, your support base. You are not allowed to mobilize. You are not allowed even to agitate. How are you going to participate? Can you say the competition, the contest is free and fair?
Right. Okay. So if these concerns, exist, why not address them now? Instead of waiting until after results are announced. What are you doing about all this?
Nobody has waited. Even you people in the media, you have not waited. It's not the first time you are discussing these issues at this television station. You have given us the opportunity to come here and discuss these issues as political persons. The purpose is to ensure that those who deal with these matters, the authorities of this country, listen.
Are they listening? Have they listened?
No.
We don't know. Muchibemba batila ichikutire tachumfwe ndibu. Nangulande shani ichikutire tachumfwe ndibu.
Yeah, but I mean, you've spoken, I think, for some time. You've been to media places like you have pointed out.
What is the purpose?
You should have...
What is the purpose of you bringing me here?
Yeah, but...
You have brought me here so that I can communicate with the rulers of this country today. This is the way we communicate with them. And this is the way we communicate with the masses of our people. It's no longer possible for each one of us to go and see the president.
Or ECZ.
Or ECZ. How many? They would not work. We are so many politicians. Look, we have 1,850 something wards with the councillors standing. And maybe from different parties. So you may have 7,000 or 8,000 people competing for council positions.
Across a vast geographic.
You have 116 districts requiring mayors or council chairpersons. How many candidates? You can have 1,000 of them. You have 226 parliamentary seats now. You may have 8 candidates or 10 candidates for each seat. Today you have 25 presidential candidates with their running mates. If each one of them wanted to speak directly to the president, wanted to speak directly to ECZ, wanted to speak directly to parliamentarians and the speaker, wanted also to address the courts directly, where would we end? That's why there's a creation of the media, the mass media. This is the way we communicate with each other. It's not possible to reach individually all the people who matter. And this is the way we are also communicating even with our religious leaders and traditional leaders. And you gave us this opportunity to come here and communicate. So we have not been doing nothing. Okay. Are you telling me this is nothing?
It is something, but we don't know what is coming out of your communication.
What else should
whether they are listening or not and taking
What else
action.
should we do?
May I say something?
We take machine guns.
Madam Banda, yes.
Yeah, we're saying the same thing in very different ways, but the fundamental thing I would like, in addition to what Dr. Membe has said, you cannot look to 25 people to speak for 22 million people. Right. Those 22 million people are sitting, they don't want to be put out there. They don't want to be seen to be saying anything. We are afraid, we are scared, we will lose this, there'll be retribution. Politicians are a mere representation of the voice that should be coming from the people. But it's a lonely place to be. That's why he said earlier that it's a thankless job. Because you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't. Our citizens do not take that voter's card that they have as seriously as they should. That means being vocal. It doesn't just mean waking up on the 13th of August and going into that booth. It means challenging every day. It is our right. The moment you have a voter's card, it is your right to loudly question, challenge, ask for accountability, ask for transparency. These bills that we're talking about now, we used to have something called referendums, right? That required, when you want to change anything in the Constitution, in fact, it didn't come from the top down. It came from the bottom up. The Constitution was a document that was made for the people, not for the politicians' convenience. We've reversed that. Our people are quiet. They are looking to Fred Membe, Dolika Banda, Shala Kateka to be the ones to carry their voice. If you have a voter's card, raise your voice.
Right. Okay, let's shift from politics to lived reality. This is economy, livelihoods, and so on. You know, Zambia has been grappling with the rising cost of living pressures, fuel prices, food costs, and employment opportunities continue to affect ordinary households. How would you assess, we'll start with Madam Banda, how would you assess the current state of the Zambian economy? And generally, what is your view of the economic policies implemented by the UPND government so far?
For me, there are two dimensions to measure the success of an economy. There are the economic measurements, the usual global statistics, GDP. That's the financial measures. There are the social measures, the Gini coefficient, measuring the economic equitability in a country, and the GNI, measuring poverty, the other way around. But there's two. There's GNI and there's a Gini coefficient. We don't talk about those.
Mm-hmm.
We brag about GDP of almost 6%, 5.1%. But how does that translate into the livelihoods of the ordinary Zambian?
Right.
At this rate, I wouldn't even say the ordinary Zambian, because even whatever we are calling the non-ordinary Zambian is struggling. People are struggling in this country. You ask anybody. We are not doing well. Socially, we are not doing well financially.
Mm-hmm.
So GDP is one measure. But every time you announce a GDP figure, please announce for me the GNI and the Gini coefficient. I know this sounds very non-ordinary in its description. All I am saying is, give us the social impact measures in addition to the financial measures. We are not in a good space. We are not in a good space as a country. The poverty levels in this country are unacceptable. The degradation morally, socially, all of which are derivatives of economic deprivation, is at a level I have never seen in this country in my almost 64 years of living.
Dr. Membe, I would like to hear your voice on this. I think you've...
Vaniki Zambia naisevana. Natusevana kunsala, natusevana kubupina. Insala ilasevanya nokuipaya leipaya. Obupina bulasevanya. Lelo, the great majority of our people live in poverty. Poverty has moved from 54% to over 60% lelo. National average. Urban poverty on average has moved from 23.4% to 31.8%.
That's over what period?
This is according to the survey that was carried out in June, July 2022. Before that, that was the poverty level. Rural poverty has moved from 76.6% to 78.8%. 78.8%. Poverty in Lusaka, capital province, has moved from 20.2% to 27%. Poverty Kukopa Belt, over the same period, it has moved from 30.8% to 35.9%.
So these are ZAMSTATS statistics?
These are ZAMSTATS.
Okay.
You can check them out. They are not coming from my head.
Okay.
They are coming from my head now because they worry me. I'm losing sleep over them. At the same time, you find that our provinces, the poorest provinces, the poverty levels are in the range of almost 80%. The poorest province in Zambia today, which is Muchinga, is enduring poverty levels of 82.6%. 82.6% Muchinga.
And
Number two,
poverty. Sorry, Dr. Membe. When we say poverty, we're talking about a family that is living below $2 a day. That is 40 kwacha, less than 40 kwacha at today's rates. sorry.
The second poorest province, Western Province, has got poverty levels of 78.6%. Number 3 in Northern, with 78%. Number 4 in Ruapula, Ikwete Obupina, was 77.3%. Number 5 in Eastern Province, which has been a food basket. With all the crops they grow, the maize they grow, the beans they grow, the soya they grow, the groundnuts they grow, and a bit of rice they grow in Ichama, the goats they keep, the cattle they keep, the pigs they keep, the tobacco they grow, the cotton they grow, they are enduring poverty levels of 76.4%. It's the 5th poorest province of our country today. These are not just figures. There are human beings behind this.
Exactly.
It means many of our people are having sleepless nights. Vamayo besu balala kofi otulotwa 1 hour, 2 hours, utulotwapwa. Insamu shiba bwitwike ku skulu, bafiriwe ku skulu shayingira mu mutwe calculus algebra yayingira. Nga bwacha abana bakalya enshimayiro. Ingomuti ukafuma kwi. And if people are not resting enough, things go wrong in the body. BP yatampa okukwela, sugar yatampa okunina, ichishere n'imfa. Mulebuka olukyero bana Mary nabo balowa n'abatusha. N'obuloshi buwingire mu Zambia leero. Kula sonta nafi.
But I mean, some argue that the government has stabilized the economy, restored international confidence. There is this CDF which is being labeled a game changer. The mining sector, there's been revitalization, mining sector revival. There is also debt restructuring, which has, happened. The currency has stabilized. Inflation is single digit, back to single digit. Don't you see all these achievements?
Let's
Tell
hope.
that to the people in charge. Sorry, the people. Today I drove through. I was coming from Lilai. I drove through Lilai itself, Kabanani, Jack Compound, Chawama. Everything that you have said just now sounds nice, but it wasn't visible to me as I was driving through those areas of my people. That ring road, when you go through that ring road, on the sides of the ring road is waste and pools of water that are acrid, they are green. Chingola, I was talking to a friend of mine who's from Chingola. Thieves, 5 men broke into their house, not even broke, walked into the house of his sister at lunchtime. Locked them up in the living room. This is a true story. I heard it 3 days ago. Locked them up in the living room and said, "We haven't come here to harm you." Kwala puisho kwitu ko bwali omubikire pa stove katwishinga pa stove pashani. Vai pika ba puisha balya babe bati thank you very much kwali twaikuta twafumamo. Chingola mining company, mining community. Where also steel gates are welded off residences during the day. The owners are in the house. They can't do anything about it. Does that story equate with the statistics or the factors that you just gave us? Fine. If those statistics are that strong for the last 4 or 5 years, we should have been seeing some upliftment in our society.
Right.
Show us that upliftment for the Zambian people. That's all I'm asking.
Right.
Vaniki, these things sound nice, but their value is only the material benefits they bring to our people. If they are bringing material benefits to our people, let's pray the Lord and thank them. Yes, we are talking of single-digit inflation. Has single-digit inflation reduced prices? No. Your inflation is at 7.1% as is being reported today. It doesn't mean prices are reducing. What it means is that prices are reducing now at 7.1% per month. It's not that the prices are increasing at 7.1% per month. They're still increasing. They might have been increasing at 10%. Now they are increasing at 7.1%. People are still paying more. And what does it take to reduce inflation? The simple definition of inflation is too much money chasing too few goods. It sounds simple, but it's correct. So if you want to reduce inflation, you can either reduce the money, the too much money, or increase the too few goods, or do both, balance both. What did our government do? Our government went for the simplest thing to reduce the money supply by increasing the reserve ratios for the banks, issuing more treasury bonds, increasing the interest rates, mopping the liquidity. You can reduce inflation within 3 months, 6 months to a single digit with that. It's the easiest thing. Countries like Turkey and others that are still having double digits despite having bigger economies, they are not fools. It's not that they don't have economists. It's not the right thing to do. When you suddenly reduce the liquidity, you are also hitting hard on effective demand. It means people who are eating 3 meals start eating 1 meal. When they start eating 1 meal, it means what they were buying at the market is reduced by 2/3.
Right.
It means the marketeer now has got only 1/3 of the income she was getting. That marketeer does not produce. The marketeer is supplied by the farmers and others. It means also their sales are reduced by 2/3. When they reduce by 2/3, it means also they are laying off people. Wherever you are reducing demand, people are losing jobs. That marketeer, after selling, passed through a grocery shop to buy a few things. Now the sales have been reduced by to 1/3. What she's buying from the grocery shop also reduces. What that grocery shopkeeper was ordering from the wholesalers also reduces. What the wholesalers was ordering from the manufacturers also reduce. And the jobs are knocked out throughout the process. And that's what we're experiencing.
Okay.
You talked about CDF. It sounds nice. But has the CDF increased the money in the country? Has it increased wealth in the country?
Production.
CDF, what they have done with CDF is like taking money from the left pocket and putting it in the right pocket and spending it from there. What used to be spent in the Ministry of Health, now you take it to CDF to buy ambulances. Have you changed anything? What used to be spent in the Ministry of Home Affairs to buy police vehicles, Land Cruisers, now you are taking it to CDF to buy Land Cruisers instead of buying them from the Ministry of Home Affairs. Have you changed anything? What have you improved? So some of these things, let's not be cheated. It's nice to put flowers, to put colorings to things. Yeah?
Yep. Yeah.
You can change the color of anything, but Nkanda still remains the same, like a chameleon.
Yeah. As we start to wind up, but what alternative economic policies or strategies would you implement if elected?
The first thing, as I said earlier on, is to gain control over our destiny, which even the American ambassador has told us. Gain control over your destiny. God did not give us the resources he has given us for nothing. He gave them to us so that we can live better. They were not for giving away. If he wanted to put the copper here so that the Europeans and others, the Chinese, can come and get them for free, he would have put them in China, he would have put them in America and Europe. He gave us these resources so that we can utilize them to live better. Today, from mining, what we remain with is just holes. They take the minerals and they take the money away. We remain with nothing.
How do you stop that?
Only the economy. Only the economy. You cannot control what you don't own. We have been singing about value addition. How do you add value to something that is not yours? The copper that we are mining is not ours. How do we add value to other people's copper?
Right.
Yes, you own the ground from which the copper is coming from, but you don't own the copper that they have mined. It's theirs.
So it's to nationalize the mines.
It's not nationalizing it. It's you owning the mines.
How exactly do we do that?
How have others done it? How have others done it? So it's only you, an African in Zambia, who cannot own. So ownership was just ordained on the Europeans, on the Chinese, on the Americans. You can't own. That's why we should pray to God every day, pray hard to give us the wisdom that is required for us to own what He has given us. Look at the Arabs. How much did He give them? God. He gave them a lot of sand, no rain, but He put oil. They are living better than you, who has been bestowed with so many good things. Good soils, heavy rainfalls, rivers everywhere, minerals that some of them you don't even know you have, because you don't have the wisdom to discover what He has put there. But so the first step is let's own, let's control. I told you about the banking sector, the financial sector. Let's gain control over that. The money the banks are using is your money. 60% of the money circulating in these foreign banks comes from your taxes. It's your money. It's NAPSA money they are using. NAPSA has got more than $10 billion of assets.
Right. Okay, now, Dr. Banda, Miss...
That's fine, I'll take the doctor.
Doctor, I know you do have some PhD.
The honorary doctor.
That is why it keeps coming. Yeah, I want to move on to youth unemployment. I wanted your comment on that. We are running out of time. Yeah, this remains one of Zambia's most persistent challenges. Despite, a lot of shifts in economic reforms and all that. Coming from a corporate, background, and having worked out there, what structural changes or change do you believe Zambia must make to move from job promises to actually creating these jobs?
I think the first thing we should be very clear about is government cannot create jobs for at 70% of this population, 60 to 70% of this population, government cannot create jobs for that youth category. This is 14 odd million people. Let us meet them where they are. For example, a lot of our youngsters are creatives. They are in the creative industry. What are we doing as a government? What are our policies around using that creativity? Whether it is where we are sitting here in the studio, behind the scenes, I'm sure behind the scenes, Nikki, you've got a lot of young people. Why is government using international marketing organizations, international PR organizations to market our brand, our country, internally and externally? Use our youngsters for that. Agriculture. We've talked about the importance of agriculture. A lot of agriculture today is tech-enabled. What are we doing? This is a vast country with huge tracts of land. Why can we not allocate specifics in each province for youth to provide their tech-enabled agricultural, not just production, but refinement as well? So agribusiness as opposed to agriculture production. What are we doing about helping our youth to move from consumption, as a country actually, move from consumption to production?
Right.
So there's a lot. One of the conversations I've been having with some of the youngsters that I interact with is, in the office of the president, you must have a youth desk that figures out how do we engage these youngsters, and they are the future of the country. The reason we are all sitting here today is to enable that 70% of this population is able and enabled to run this country when I am 90 years old and I am an old age pensioner. It's they're the ones who are going to do it. But we must listen to them. I cannot devise for you a policy for the youth. I have to speak to them and say, what matters to you today? And what do you want to see this country be like in 20 years' time? We don't listen to our youth. And this comes partly from our tradition and our culture, which says, "Vana asaza, oenronkala jet. Nineuso nakuja utu chitechakuji, don't speak back at me." Your mother tells you you've got too much lip, too much tongue. Stop talking. I've just told you, do this. We have to also unlearn that mentality without losing the intergenerational respect.
Okay. Right. I would love Dr. Membe to come in on this one, but time factor is really not our best ally at the moment. I need to squeeze in one more here. Zambia has been dependent on the, assistance from the IMF, World Bank, for decades. But challenges have continued. They persist. To both of you, just please tell the viewers what form of relationship you would, as People's Pact, pursue with these institutions when or if elected.
Yeah. These institutions were not created for us. The IMF, the World Bank, was not created for us. We were not countries when they were created after the Second World War. We were possessions of the United Kingdom and the other colonialists. We were not sovereign nations. We were appendages. They were created to serve the interests of their creators.
Right.
You are right. We have been on so many of their programs. Show me one African country that had gotten out of it. When they are injecting you with their poison, they praise you. Ghana this, Ghana that, Zambia this, Zambia that. But what has come out of it? Let's create our own approach. Let's solve our own problems. What we can't do for ourselves, nobody will do it for us. The IMF has never developed any country. We are not going to be developed by the World Bank. And the area we move out of that shackle and gain control of our destiny, we are going nowhere. The IMF, look, the IMF opens the door for you to a trap. They open the door for you to go and borrow from their customers. And what are the measures they want? They take the measures that will enable you to pay back what you have borrowed. Austerity measures. They focus on the inflation rates, the interest rates, and so on, for which they were created.
And quickly, how your relationship will be?
No, look, we have to take control of our own destiny. It's not the relationship with anybody. It's the way we relate to our own interests that matters. There are so many lenders. Even in this country, you have got so many people lending in Kalova. Simply because there's somebody lending money, then you rush there. If you went to everybody, to every money lender, to every Shylock, to every Kalova dealer, where are you going to end? Control your appetite. Start to focus on managing your own affairs.
I think that's the fundamental point. Of course, I come from that world, right?
Yeah,
yes,
right.
I come from that world. And we live in a geopolitically integrated world. We cannot get away from that. But fundamentally for me, it is, even for us as human beings on our daily lives, there are some projects, if we have a mortgage. You need to go and mortgage because you want to build your house. But you know what house you want to build. And you know how you're going to repay that mortgage. That's called what? It's called fiscal discipline. In your own home, you're not going to start building a house that you think you can't afford to repay for. You're not going to buy a vehicle on a vehicle finance arrangement that you don't know how you're going to repay it. When you go to that bank, what they do, a prudent bank that is interested in you becoming their long-term customer, will do their affordability check. They'll do their checklist. Can you afford this? Do you have 33% dispensable income? And there are rules and they are possessions. But you're working to do what? To own your own home, to own your own car. So you have to be prudent when you do this.
Right.
The world borrows. Even the Americans borrow from the Chinese.
Yeah, that's the point, yes.
The world borrows. We cannot get away from that.
Right.
But you must borrow understanding fully how you're going to repay, and you don't borrow yourself to shackles. You borrow for incremental or specific project purposes, but the ownership, the direction, the vision is yours. When you borrow, nobody can tell you you'll only educate in this way. You'll only have these health facilities. You only have this kind of nutrition for your people. You go and say, I want to borrow because I want my people to be living at a certain standard. And this is how I intend to pay. And no IMF. You cannot tell me to tighten my belt in this area. But you can only do that when you're going there as an equal partner, when you're negotiating from a position of strength.
Okay. Right. Okay, so we're winding up. I think we've run out of time completely. I'll give 1 minute each. Just to give a weight, what message would you have for the voters who are questioning the direction that the opposition is taking right now? The camera is over there. Just 1 minute, Madam Banda.
I would say, question not the direction that the opposition is taking. Question and ask what we want for ourselves as voters in a country. And exercise your civic duty. And when you get into that ballot box, vote for the person that you think is going to improve your life going forward, not for the promises that you've been hearing. Improving the life of this country and the future of this country means voting not for the same old, same old. That has been the Achilles heel in our life, and it will continue to cripple us if we continue to do the same thing. Vote for the new voice. Vote for the new approach. Vote for the people who are saying our mandate is people-based mandate.
Right, okay. And what happens come August 13 and you are not in government? What next for
You continue.
Ms. Banda?
You continue. The same way I moved from one platform into another, in search of finding a way of communicating with our people, whatever I can share, and also satisfying my own passion for this country getting itself on its right feet. You continue. There will be some way, shape, or form that you continue.
Dr. Membe, we close with you.
A better life is possible. A better Zambia is possible. We can't continue to live this way. But a better world, a better Zambia, a better society will not come on its own. We have to work for it. We have to struggle for it. It gets dark sometimes, but the morning comes. Every night has its morning. Let's not give up. Let's continue to struggle for a more fair, more just, more humane society. Yet the future is not built in the future. The future is built on the threshold of the decisions and actions we take today. The future is not a calendar. The future is built on the decisions and actions we take. Young people, this is your country. Yes, it's also our country, but it's much more yours. You have more time to live. You have many more years to live. Take the destiny of this country into your own hands. Take your future into your own hands. What you can't do for yourselves, nobody will do it for you. Fight for the future you want. Fight for the country you want. You are the most affected. You are the majority. You are the poorest. But take the leadership of this country seriously. Don't be moved by small things. Don't be moved by sweet talk. Think for yourselves. Analyze the things for yourselves. Come to your own conclusions. And struggle and struggle and struggle for a better Zambia.
Well, thank you. Dr. Fred Membe, presidential candidate on the People's Pact ticket, and running mate, Ms. Dolika Banda. Thank you so much for joining us tonight.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, viewers, tonight's discussion underscored a reality many citizens are grappling with. Elections are not just about participation. They are about direction, discipline, and trust. As Zambia approaches August 13, the question is no longer whether alternatives exist. It is whether those alternatives can align, inspire confidence, and act in step with the people they seek to lead. You've been watching Oxygen of Democracy from me, Nikki Shavolio, and the entire production crew. Till next week, good night and God bless.